The antique shop smelled like dust and secrets. Cobwebs clung to the furniture. Clara wandered through the narrow aisles. She stopped at a shelf crowded with old dolls. Their eyes seemed to follow her. Clara moved on. She found a room at the back. It was filled with mirrors. One mirror stood out. It had a silver frame. The frame was cold to the touch. "Beautiful, isn't she?" a raspy voice said. Clara jumped. She hadn't seen the old shopkeeper. He stood behind her. His eyes were like two dark marbles. "It's intriguing," Clara said, "but it feels off." She hesitated. The shopkeeper chuckled. "Some things," he said, "are best left undisturbed." He looked at Clara intently. "Be warned, child. This one's hungry." Clara ignored the shopkeeper's warning. She bought the mirror. She took it home. Her apartment felt different with the mirror inside. The air felt heavier, colder. She hung the mirror on her bedroom wall. It looked out of place among her modern furniture. Clara stared at her reflection. Something flickered at the edge of the glass. A shiver ran down her spine. She told herself it was just her imagination. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted. The shopkeeper's words echoed in her mind. "This one's hungry." That night, Clara couldn't sleep. She kept hearing whispers. They seemed to be coming from the mirror. Each whisper sent chills down her spine. She saw shadows move in the mirror. They danced just beyond the reflection. Clara tried to ignore them. She pulled the blanket over her head, but the whispers grew louder. Clara's heart pounded in her chest. She was too afraid to look at the mirror. What if the shadows came closer? She knew, deep down, that something was wrong, terribly wrong. The next day, Clara avoided the mirror. She kept her back to it, but she couldn't escape its presence. It felt like a weight on her chest. That night, she woke up with a gasp. A cold breath brushed against her cheek. Clara's eyes flew open. She stared in horror at the mirror. A figure stood in the reflection. It was tall and skeletal. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light. The figure reached out from the mirror. Its long, bony fingers scraped against her wall. Clara screamed. She scrambled back on her bed. The figure kept reaching for her. Its eyes burned into hers. The next morning, Clara was gone. Her apartment was empty. The only sign that she had ever been there was the mirror. It hung on the wall, cold and silent. The old shopkeeper arrived at the apartment. He had a knowing smile on his face. "She should have listened," he muttered. He took the mirror off the wall. It was heavier than before. It pulsed with a dark energy. The shopkeeper looked into the mirror. He saw a flicker of Clara's terrified face. "A new host awaits," he whispered to the mirror. He chuckled softly, the sound as chilling as the empty apartment. He knew the mirror wouldn't stay hungry for long.